We open with a split screen. On the left, a rancher is writing a massive check for imported patented bagged feed and dry hay, watching his profit margins evaporate while his cattle stand on dead frozen dirt. On the right, a livestock manager walks through a vibrant, lush, multi-species pasture in early spring, having spent exactly $60 on bulk seed a month earlier. We pose the universal information gap. Why are so many agricultural producers going bankrupt feeding their animals out of a bag when nature offers a highly specific winter window that lets you biologically print a year's worth of protein and carbohydrates for pennies on the dollar? We introduce the shadow mystery. The commercial feed industry depends on you ignoring the frost seeding window, a brief period in late winter when freeze-thaw cycles physically open the earth and swallow seeds, with no heavy tillage machinery required. That pattern locks you into buying expensive grain instead of growing your own self-fertilizing super pasture. Number 1. Red clover stands as the frost seeding king, the first step in breaking the feed chain. In late winter, when the soil cracks open with every freeze and thaw, red clover seed drops in and waits for spring. Broadcast just 6 to 8 pounds per acre, and you'll see more than 75% stand success in University of Minnesota trials, thanks to hard seed that scarifies naturally in the cold. By the first graze, just 52 to 68 days after the thaw, this legume delivers a protein punch, 18 to 19% crude protein in the forage, with a typical dry matter yield of 2.4 tons per acre in that first spring. Red clover isn't just feed, it's a nitrogen factory, fixing up to 110 pounds of nitrogen per acre, setting up your pasture for a season of growth. Fast, reliable, and perfectly matched to the freeze and thaw honeycombing engine, red clover is the foundational species that turns nature's winter window into a year's worth of protein and fertility for pennies on the dollar. After the thaw, and beardless varieties boost palatability, reducing the risk of awn injuries in the herd. For graziers facing depleted or saline soils, forage barley delivers a solution that fits right into the winter seeding hack, expanding the reach of the pasture and closing the gap where commercial feed once seemed inevitable. Number 12. Triticale stands as the hybrid powerhouse that bridges the rugged resilience of rye with the feed value of wheat. Born from a cross of these two cereals, Triticale brings a rare balance to the frost-seeded pasture, delivering both high biomass and digestible energy in a single pass. In spring trials, Triticale pushes out up to 3.6 tons of dry matter per acre, with total digestible nutrients hitting a reliable 71 to 73%. That means every acre seeded before March yields a dense, leafy sward ready for grazing just 54 to 70 days after thaw. Triticale's disease resistance and hoof tolerance make it a workhorse under repeated stocking, holding up where more delicate cereals might falter. Its feed quality lands squarely between rye's toughness and wheat's palatability, giving producers a mid-block cereal that delivers both tonnage and taste. For herds needing balanced energy without sacrificing stand longevity, Triticale quietly strengthens the cereal layer, laying the groundwork for maximum output as the pasture rotation rolls forward. Number 13. Cereal rye is the undisputed heavyweight when it comes to spring tonnage and cold soil germination. Where other cereals hesitate, rye pushes forward, sprouting at just 34 degrees Fahrenheit, weeks ahead of the competition. This head start translates into sheer bulk. University trials confirm dry matter yields topping 4.1 tons per acre within 46 to 60 days of thaw. That's the kind of early season biomass that fills the barnyard gap and delivers calories when every mouth is hungry. Rye isn't just about volume, though. It acts as a nutrient scavenger, pulling up to 70 pounds of residual nitrogen from the soil and locking it into the sward for the next rotation. Its dense growth chokes out weeds, giving pastures a clean slate for the year ahead. But with all that power comes a warning. Graze rye too soon after heavy nitrogen application, and nitrate levels can spike, risking herd health. Managed right, cereal rye stands at the top of the cereal block, delivering unmatched bulk and energy when the winter window closes and feed costs threaten to break the operation. Number 14. Spring wheat brings a welcome shift in the cereal lineup, offering a soft, palatable graze that livestock consistently prefer over coarser grains. Where cereal rye delivers sheer bulk, spring wheat steps in to round out the energy block with a taste profile that keeps cattle and sheep coming back for more. University palatability trials show spring wheat outscoring barley when it comes to voluntary intake, thanks to its tender stems and leafy growth. Grazing can begin as soon as 52 to 70 days after the thaw, with total digestible nutrients reaching 69%, right in the sweet spot for balancing protein-rich legumes. Yields average 2.4 tons of dry matter per acre, and moderate cold tolerance means it fits neatly into the late winter seeding window. After the heavy lifting of rye and oats, spring wheat upgrades the pasture to a high-acceptance cereal, smoothing the transition to the next phase, deep mineral forbs and herbs that drive herd health through the summer. Number 15. Forage chicory cracks open a new layer in the pasture, a deep soil miner that does more than feed. With a taproot plunging 3 to 6 feet, chicory pulls trace minerals from far below the reach of most forage crops, delivering nutrients like zinc, copper, and selenium to the surface sward. But its impact goes beyond mineral cycling. University trials show that grazing on chicory-rich pastures can cut internal parasite loads by up to 35%, thanks to bitter compounds in the leaves that disrupt worm life cycles. This natural anthelmintic effect means fewer chemical drenches and healthier, more resilient livestock. Forage chicory produces up to 1.3 tons of dry matter per acre, with protein levels ranging from 14 to 18%. Solid numbers for a forb that thrives in drought and heat. Unlike the carbohydrate rush of cereals, chicory brings a different kind of value: clean, mineral-rich feed and a living shield against parasites, setting the stage for the next wave of health-building herbs in the pasture mix. Number 16. Forage plantain brings a living mineral lick to the pasture, anchoring the soil while feeding the herd. This drought-tolerant forb forms a low rosette ground cover that holds tight against erosion, even under heavy hoof traffic. Plantain's real power lies beneath the surface. Its leaves concentrate calcium, copper, and selenium at levels that outpace most common forages. Mineral assays show crude protein content reaching 16%, but it's the elevated micronutrient profile that turns plantain into a natural supplement station for grazing livestock. Where bagged mineral blocks cost dollars per head, a stand of plantain delivers trace elements directly from the soil to the animal, bite after bite. The persistent growth habit means it rebounds after grazing and mowing, keeping the mineral flow steady through dry spells. Paired with deep-rooted chicory, plantain expands the spectrum of available nutrients, filling in gaps that cereals and legumes leave behind. For producers facing depleted soils or chronic mineral deficiencies in the herd, forage plantain quietly transforms the pasture into a self-sustaining source of health and resilience. Number 17. Small burnet quietly solves a problem that haunts many sheep and goat producers. The winter feed gap when pastures brown out and imported hay becomes the only green bite. Unlike most forbs, small burnet stays evergreen, holding its rosette of finely cut aromatic leaves through deep freezes and late snows. Hardiness trials confirm survival down to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, with stands persisting 5 years or more, even under regular grazing. For small ruminants, this is not just another plant. It is a preferred forage, with grazing preference studies showing sheep and goats consistently select burnet over dormant grass or coarse hay. Its subtle cucumber-scented leaves offer steady palatability, keeping animals eating even when choices are slim. While it does not deliver the concentrated minerals of plantain or the deep taproot of chicory, small burnet's real value is simple. It keeps green, living feed in the pasture year-round, building resilience into the winter diet and reducing the need for costly supplemental feed. Number 18. Yarrow stands as the living mineral block in the pasture, a botanical solution to the hidden costs of mineral deficiency that drive up feed bills year after year. Where bagged supplements offer a narrow band of nutrients, Yarrow accumulates potassium, phosphorus, and copper directly from the soil, delivering a broad-spectrum mineral boost with every bite. Its rhizomatous roots spread steadily beneath the sward, weaving through tight, low-fertility ground where other forbs struggle to persist. Drought hardiness is built into its DNA, allowing yarrow to thrive through dry spells that thin out less resilient species. Under tight grazing, it rebounds quickly, maintaining a steady mineral supply even in overstocked paddocks. For centuries, yarrow has carried a reputation in herbal folklore as a wound healer and tonic, but its real power for graziers is practical. It quietly fills gaps in the mineral profile that limit herd health and growth. As the final piece in the deep soil minor block, yarrow completes the herbal layer, setting the stage for the energy-rich brassicas that follow in a truly self-sustaining, mineral-balanced pasture. Number 19. Forage turnips open the brassica block with a dual-purpose punch that rewrites what a frost-seeded pasture can deliver. In the first 46 to 58 days after seeding, turnip leaves surge ahead, offering a rapid flush of green foliage that tests at 21% protein, an immediate answer to the protein gap left by fading cereals and tired legumes. But the real payoff comes later, as the bulbs swell beneath the surface, storing energy in the form of sugar-rich roots that reach around 11% sugar by dry matter. This top and root dynamic means the same patch can be grazed twice, first for lush, digestible leaves, then again in autumn when the bulbs become a slow-release energy source that keeps weight on cattle deep into the cold months. Forage turnips thrive in the freeze and thaw honeycombing window, establishing quickly and capturing nitrogen left by previous crops. Unlike radishes, their main job isn't soil shattering, it is feeding the herd with both instant protein and late-season calories, making them the tactical bridge from spring flush to winter resilience. Number 20. Daikon radish turns the pasture into a living jackhammer, breaking through compacted layers that have resisted years of tillage. Its taproot drills 2 to 3 feet deep, shattering hardpan and opening new channels for air, water, and roots. This isn't just a feed crop, it's a soil engineer. University studies show that daikon radish can reduce surface soil bulk density by up to 15% in a single season, setting up the next rotation for explosive growth. The leafy tops, ready for grazing in as little as 42 days, yield around 1.6 tons of dry matter per acre and deliver a flush of nutrient-rich forage when other brassicas are still settling in. But it's what happens underground that changes the game. As the radish root decays, it scavenges leached sulfur and nitrogen, cycling them back to the surface and leaving behind a honeycombed soil structure that resists erosion and holds moisture. For producers battling compaction and declining yields, daikon radish offers a direct path to healthier soil and a more productive, resilient pasture system. Number 21. Forage kale brings a cold, hardened punch to the brassica block, stacking up bulk where most forages collapse under frost. In the late winter window, this crop turns the freeze and thaw cycle into a slow-release engine, building a standing wall of high-fiber stems and leafy tops that hold their value deep into the cold months. Typical yields range from 4 to 8 tons of dry matter per acre, with a grazing window that stretches 52 to 70 days, well after most annuals have faded. Forage kale's real strength is its resilience. Even after repeated freezes, the stalks stay upright, keeping feed off the mud and accessible long after snow cover. This makes it an anchor for late-season grazing, especially when the goal is to store feed on the hoof instead of in the barn. The dense, fibrous stems mean it is best to introduce gradually, letting stock adapt to the bulk and avoiding digestive upsets. While slower to establish than turnips or radish, forage kale's cold tolerance and standability set it apart as the winter workhorse, extending the grazing season and locking in feed security when other options run thin. Number 22. Forage rape flips the script on slow, single-use forages by delivering the fastest regrowth cycle in the brassica block. In as little as 41 days after sowing, leafy canopies cover bare ground, offering a flush of high-protein feed just as other crops are still building bulk. Each acre yields up to 2.5 tons of dry matter, with leaves testing at 18 to 20% protein, an immediate answer to the post-cereal protein dip. But the real advantage is in the regrowth. Once grazed, forage rape rebounds, producing a second and sometimes third leafy flush without replanting. This rapid cycle means multiple grazing rounds from a single winter seeding, stretching the value of every pound of seed. Moderate bloat risk only becomes a concern if rape dominates more than 70% of the diet, so it is best paired with grasses or cereals for safety. Where forage kale builds late-season reserves, forage rape wins on speed and flexibility, bridging the gap between early protein and the heavy-rooted energy crops that follow. Number 23. Fodder beet is the underground energy vault that takes late-season grazing to another level. Where most forages fade with the frost, fodder beet stores its power in massive, sugar-rich bulbs, each weighing up to 14 pounds and with 12 to 14% sugar. That's concentrated feed, kept fresh beneath the soil until the herd needs it most. Typical yields reach 22 to 38 tons of fresh weight per acre, dwarfing most other brassicas and delivering a reserve that rivals grain in calorie density. Strip grazing is the key to unlocking this crop's full value. By rationing access to the beets, producers can stretch the energy supply deep into winter, holding condition on cattle and sheep without resorting to expensive bagged feed. The logistics are worth the effort because fodder beets' extreme yield and slow-release sugar make it the strategic choice for finishing stock or bridging the late-season feed gap. In the world of frost-seeded supercrops, nothing matches fodder beet for sheer underground energy storage. Number 24. Swede, often called rutabaga, stands as the final brassica in the frost-seeding arsenal, prized for its unmatched ability to hold feed deep into the winter. Where other forages collapse under snow or rot in wet ground, swede bulbs stay firm and edible, delivering a steady energy supply when pastures have long since faded. University trials report yields between 16 and 29 tons of fresh bulbs per acre, with grazing windows stretching 62 to 90 days, an insurance policy against the late-season feed gap that drives many producers to the feed store. The secret lies in the dense dry matter, rich bulbs that resist freeze-thaw damage, storing carbohydrates underground until the herd needs them most. Leaves regrow slowly after grazing, so the real value is in strip grazing the bulbs, letting cattle harvest their own feed straight from the field. In winter persistence studies, swede outlasts other brassicas, holding standability and feed quality well into sub-zero spells. For ranchers seeking to break the cycle of imported feed, swede offers a reliable, low-input solution, nature's answer to winter's longest nights. Number 25. Sainfoin stands as the perennial anchor that brings the entire frost-seeded system full circle. Known as holy hay, Sainfoin delivers 19 to 22% protein and a proven 45% reduction in parasite loads thanks to its rich tannin content. This non-bloating legume persists for years, producing up to 2.8 tons of dry matter per acre even in drought, though it prefers neutral soils. Where annuals fade, Sainfoin endures, building a foundation of animal health, pasture longevity, and true feed independence that lasts well beyond a single season. Across all 25 supercrops, one truth stands out. Winter window is the ultimate biological advantage hiding in plain sight. The commercial feed chain thrives on a universal information gap. Frost seeding lets you break free, turning hooves and freeze and thaw cycles into a nitrogen factory and a living hay barn. This isn't just smart agronomy, it is reclaiming control over your bottom line, one overlooked season at a time. Drop your thoughts below. How will you break the feed chain this year?